Hi, I'm Stephen Sherman. I'm the chair of the Department of Endocrine Neoplasia and Hormonal Disorders at the MD Anderson Cancer Center. And I am the very grateful recipient of a designated research grant from the V Foundation in 2009.
Hi, my name is Jill Schumacher. I'm an associate professor of genetics at MD Anderson. In 2001, I had the privilege of being named a V Foundation Scholar.
Jill, why don't you tell us about the research that you performed that was supported by the V Foundation?
Getting the V Foundation Scholar Award was one of the first awards that I received after starting my own lab, and it was a tremendous feeling to get some recognition, to get the funds to be able to do some experiments that we didn't have funding for. So it was tremendous to have that sort of support and recognition from such a wonderful foundation. In fact, the experiments that I had proposed in that application, we did do, and we did them successfully, and we're still following up on many of the discoveries that we made doing those experiments long ago. And so that basically started the whole foundation for all the research we do in the lab now. Every day, practically every day that I walk around Houston, taking my kids to school, going to the grocery store, going to kids' softball games, I run into someone who's been a patient at MD Anderson. And they are grateful for the treatment they got here, and they're healthy and are living great lives. So yes, I believe from seeing all the people that yes, we are making tremendous progress in the fight against cancer, but obviously more needs to be done. There are times in science where you feel down and you feel, I just can't make any more progress. And then I feel, I just can't give up. And those are the immortal words of Jim Valvano. And so the V Foundation really supports that sort of spirit, which is something that we all have to remember. And now I'd like to pass the V to my colleague. Steve, can you tell us about the research that the V Foundation sponsored in your laboratory?
Thanks, Jill. So the work that I'm involved with has to do with thyroid cancer, which is the most rapidly increasing cancer in women in this country. And our interest is primarily in patients with advanced and metastatic disease where this has been a largely unmet need for decades. So we became interested in the concept of being able to look at measurement of circulating tumor cells in patients with thyroid cancer and now clearly see that patients with detectable circulating tumor cells lived far shorter than patients who did not have the significant tumor cells. So we think that this is potentially a useful biomarker for identifying at a much earlier time which patients should potentially be considered for systemic therapy and intervention for their metastases. And so the next lines of research, directly building off of the studies funded from the V Foundation, is to try to use the circulating tumor cell measurements to test whether this adequately identifies patients early in the course who would benefit from treatment given months or years earlier than we might now typically begin it. We're absolutely and increasingly dependent upon non-traditional or newer sources of funding to support research, and remain, extremely thankful for foundations like the V Foundation that recognize that alternate means of funding and enhanced funding is necessary in cancer research. Well, as somebody who is an enormous basketball fan and who remembers very much watching NC State basketball and Jimmy Valvano's teams, it was somewhat emotional for me, to be honest, to have this opportunity to interact with the V Foundation. It touched a strong chord, and I still am very grateful for it.
Thanks, Steve. And thanks to the generous support of the V Foundation, MD Anderson is helping to accomplish Jim Valvano's dream of a cancer-free world.
Thanks to the V Foundation for supporting MD Anderson's mission of making cancer history, and happy 20th anniversary to everyone at the V Foundation. In the words of Jim Valvano,
don't give
up.
Don't ever give up.